Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the CanBIM Feature Friday. This is a monthly series that shares knowledge on innovation, innovative technologies, processes, and all sorts of new best practices. Really glad that you can join us today. So my name's Helen Goodland. If I haven't met you before, lovely to meet you. I am the principal and founding partner and head of research and innovation for Size Advisory, and we're based out here in sunny British Columbia in Vancouver. Before we begin today, just have a few announcements that I'd like to make. Super important. First of all, thank you, everybody, for showing up, and thank you for joining us today. I'd also like to thank our annual partners that allow us to achieve our purpose and mission of advancing the building and infrastructure industry and improving the role of digital technologies in advancing civilization. Thank you to all of our partners. We couldn't do any of this without you. Please check them out on our CanBIM website, and you'll find all sorts of information about them, company profiles, and so forth. Now, this is a new platform that we're using today, so super excited about that, called Hopin, and it's quite powerful. So you'll find that there's all sorts of functionality. Let me just give you a 2-second tour. On the left-hand side of your screen, you'll see that there's 4 buttons there. There's a reception, there's a stage, and there's networking. And I'll just tell you a little bit about what those do. So reception is the main area where you'll see general information on our speakers. Stage is the main stage where the presentation takes place. That's here. There is an expo, which is where there are some booths. There's 4. From today's speaker. So you'll be able to go there, meet the Bim One team, and hear about all of the things that they can do and offer your business. And there's also a networking area where you can pop in, pop out, and you can engage with each other. On the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see that there's a chat function and Q&A. And the chat is for everybody to just say hello to each other, chit-chat as you wish. But also note that I'm going to be going there for the questions. So when you have questions for the speaker, the second half of this presentation this morning, please put them there, and I'll be going through them and picking out some juicy ones for our speakers. But our speakers will also be looking at the chat as well, and anything that's sort of a quick yes, no, they'll be there responding as well. All right, so feel free to roam around the site, check out all of those fun features. Be sure also to go and see the booths. And the booths are really focused on sort of 4 areas. There's an architecture one, there's an engineering one, there's one for builders, general contractors, subcontractors, and then one for owners as well. So something for everyone. Yes, so for sure stick around and enjoy the Q&A at the end. All right, so now to introduce our speakers today. So we have Scott Chatterton and Vincent Grignon, who are from Bim One. Scott is the Bim Technical Director for Western Canada, and he's going to be up to speak first. And Vincent, I think, is going to be there to handle questions as well. So Scott is based in BC, out here with me. He has a deep technical background in project delivery and BIM management. Scott's also, like me, he's a member of the CanBIM Board of Directors, and he's a certified CanBIM professional. Before CanBIM and before Bim One, he was at HDR Architecture for 7 years, which really needs no introduction. It's a very large global architecture practice where Scott was the international BIM integration leader and the digital design leader responsible for BIM planning and integration, integrating BIM across just a whole swath of international practices and projects. And I've had the pleasure of working with Scott on projects over the last little while as well. And I mean, Scott has been around the BIM world probably longer than anyone I know. So we used to affectionately, back in the day, refer to Scott as the Bim Jedi, because he knew so much more than any of the rest of us at the time. Vincent is the manager of major accounts at Bim One. He's based in Montreal. and brings a very diverse experience as the manager of major accounts. And he began his career with BIM One back in 2017, working on major projects in Quebec City, Groupe de l'Air, Broccolini, to name a few, where he focused on BIM audits, BIM implementation and strategy. And like Scott, Vince has a very deep background in research and technology through his experience at ETS and the Luxembourg Institute of Science and Technology, where he spent time researching macro BIM adoption. So there's my question number one right there, is to find out more about that. Planning and control of construction projects and project management. So Vince is going to join us at the end of Scott's presentation for the Q&A. So that's it for me. That feels like an awful lot, but I'll be back at the end to manage the next phase. So Scott, over to you.
Great. Thank you very much, Helen. It's Friday, Feature Friday. Feels like Feature Friday movie, doesn't it? Thanks for the introduction. My name's Scott Chatterton. I'm with a company called BIM One Incorporated, or BIM One Consulting. Let's get that ready. There we go. So I'm the BIM Technical Director for BIM One. Basically, what my role is, as Helen described, is I work with the company and our clients and customers in implementing BIM, developing BIM technical strategies, supporting projects, large projects in BIM, and a whole variety of different things. As Helen mentioned, I got a long history of BIM support and implementation, both in BC, across Canada, and internationally. One of the mission statements that we have at BIM One is really to help organizations increase productivity and efficiency using digital tools, using digital practice. And the digital tools we have nowadays are innovative, and we help companies build through innovation. Some of our guiding principles are quality, collaboration, being able to communicate and collaborate with people and projects, and really that's the essence of BIM. Our vision is to really respond with solutions that are aligned with the context and reality of the organizations that we support. So we don't just come in and implement a standard off-the-shelf process. We really like to work with our customers and clients in developing something that is specific to their individual needs. And we do that using a variety of experts within the organization that really have specialty skills, not only in each discipline, each sector, but also industry experience as well. So we really pride ourselves on being able to meet our customers' needs. Some of the services that we provide our customers is strategic planning, so helping them achieve a digital delivery objective, supporting projects, so quite often, and we'll talk about a lot of our projects shortly, where we support projects either as a BIM manager, as a consultant for the client, as an advisor, strategic planning, that type of thing. And I will be talking about projects today, some of the projects that we've been involved with, our approach to those projects, what we've done for those projects, and how BIM has been utilized through that as well. Implementation, which is probably one of my specialties. I've been a BIM implementer for a number of years now. And training. As part of implementation, we really need to be able to train. And that was part of my background as well. As a certified Autodesk instructor, I really enjoy teaching people how to use the platform and teach people about BIM. So that's certainly something that's very important to us as well. So our strategy, when we're approached by clients, we look at we have a number of different approaches. So our original strategy is looking at what the organization does as a whole and how they operate. We do a BIM overview and a BIM assessment, maturity check around BIM. We look at their existing processes, because ideally what we want to do is integrate into their existing processes a BIM workflow, so it's less disruptive, It's not a complete radical change, which can be very disruptive. We try and seamlessly integrate BIM into their existing process. There are changes, and change management has a large part to do with controlling those changes and mitigating the risk of an unsuccessful implementation. Through change management, we're able to then identify those risks and address them as well, and really try and make that implementation process as seamless and as comfortable for everybody involved as possible. Through that, we do a transition plan, we create a roadmap, we create a BIM management plan, and then we look at the output, so what the deliverables are for the client and what their demands are. Not only their demands, but also what the project demands. Quite often today, with the different variety and the complexity of the projects that we deliver, they have very specific demands, project demands around BIM and data and the deliverables and how those deliverables are going to be used. So that's a very crucial part, is meeting what the project demands, what the goals are for the project. So one of our services is projects and supporting projects, and we can do that in a number of different ways. We can provide a BIM management service. Now, this is actually becoming very popular, and this is part of, I think, the digital, the direction that the industry is going in a whole is not only having your discipline-specific BIM managers, your architectural BIM manager, your structural, mechanical, electrical, but also then having a independent BIM manager that overviews the whole project, quite often commissioned by either the client, and the client could in fact be the contractor, but having somebody who's impartial and independent do an overview of everybody's delivery around the BIM. Data management is rapidly becoming more crucial on projects. More BIM is being utilized now for facilities maintenance and management, for operations, and the use of data and the input of data and the back and forth of data around BIM is certainly crucial. So being able to manage that data, quantify and qualify what type of data is used, and how best to manage that data. Clash detection coordination always been a high priority on any large project, and what we're seeing now is not only in the large projects but also scaling down now and becoming more common on every project. Model analysis and quality control really comes back to data management again. It's being able to ensure that the model quality meets the project needs and the project demands and the client's needs. So for the utilization of the BIM. Research and development is part of our project deliverables as well, analyzing and assessing different platforms. As a BIM consulting firm, we're platform agnostic. So we really look at BIM as a process, irregardless of what platforms and tools are being used. And we can offer some custom programming, so developing programs that helps create efficiency around delivery of projects. Implementation, part of our implementation, and this is really crucial to not only implementation of BIM within a firm, but also implementation of BIM within a project. As we're seeing now with the implementation of BIM and the request of BIM on different projects and the variety of those projects, we're seeing different demands of BIM and BIM data on projects. So we really are now looking at implementation of BIM specific to a project. So even though a design firm or consulting firm may have BIM experience, once again, with unique projects, the strategic plan for BIM on those projects needs to be developed. So we can provide that type of strategic planning, BIM requirements, so exploring with the owner and with the customer, the client, what the requirements are for BIM and make some recommendations. Provide leadership around BIM, so providing guidance not only to the client but also to the whole team. look at ways to optimize process and production, look at technology intelligence. So once again, looking at different platforms and tools that are available in the market right now, and also customizing those so we can optimize the use of those tools in a project, which really brings us to technology intelligence. And then collaboration. And we've really, over this year and last year, seen a rapid increase around cloud collaboration and different collaboration platforms and methods. So there's still a lot of people struggling with how to collaborate effectively. Training something that personally I love to do. I love sharing my knowledge and my industry experience in a classroom setting. Right now, though, we've all made that shift to online training, and we've got some excellent trainers and instructors available at BIM One that are very comfortable in either platform, either in person or through cloud training. Not only training though, but mentoring. Because we have quite a variety of skills and abilities within BIM One, we can provide good mentoring specific to your needs. So if it's mechanical, electrical, civil, we have the skills and the abilities and the expertise within the organization to do that. So we can support the whole organization and provide group training. So let's get on with the projects and let's talk a little bit about some of the projects that we've worked on and the experiences around those projects and what we've done. Probably one of the BIM One's biggest clients has been the City of Quebec. So the City of Quebec wanted to implement BIM for building management department for the City of Quebec. And they want to do this for a number of different reasons. Obviously, maximizing, they realized the gains and the benefits of utilizing BIM as an organization, as a city, but they saw the benefit for the future as well. So monitoring, creating a strategic plan around the BIM, use of BIM in the direction that the city wanted to go, monitoring that implementation and monitoring their buildings, mitigating risk. So as a public organization, they've got due diligence to be responsible with their funding. And this is one aspect of that they could achieve that through mitigating risk on the projects, capital projects that they invest in. So through that, we, BIM One, we keep in mind throughout the whole process the real mission of the BIM process for our clients. And that really is to ensure that the process improves in terms, their terms of project delivery, schedule, cost, and quality. So that was our goals when the City of Quebec approached us. So to achieve this, communication is critical. And as BIM One, as a team, we really know how to make teams work together because that's our background. And we did that with the City of Quebec. So the City of Quebec implemented BIM as a broad overview for all of their project deliveries. So for public projects, the rules of governance changed, and this was partly due to implementation of BIM, as well as the level of involvement now that's required by the stakeholders need to be clearly defined. So we, BIM One, we produced documentation, workflows, and we provided support in the processes that were already in place, and then how BIM would impact that, and then how we can share that with the stakeholders. So because of that, City of Quebec is now recognized as one of the most advanced cities in Canada for BIM implementation. And they are recognized also as leaders throughout the market across Canada. Other provinces are actually looking at the City of Quebec model and asking them about their implementation of BIM. But the City of Quebec is also supporting the industry. So through leadership in the market, they're supporting the industry, sharing their knowledge, and through demanding that projects be done utilizing BIM. So this project, the Videotron, was actually one of the projects that initiated the need for this. Pomelo was involved with this project, and it's a $370 million project, and it was completed through certain uses of the BIM process, but more specifically during the pre-construction phase. So in order to efficiently use the data that was made available through the delivery of the digital model, the city really wanted to implement the use of BIM for operations and maintenance for this new building. It's a complex building. They wanted to be able to utilize the models and the data that was going to be used. And this is the point where BIM One got involved. So as this project was a success in the eyes of city officials, they chose to extend the new practice of BIM and increase the use of BIM processes throughout all of their projects throughout the city. So they therefore decided to deploy BIM to a vast majority of their new construction projects and major renovations. So not only new constructions, but also the renovations of projects. So this is where BIM One came in, and after having supported the city in its BIM planning and on a project basis, was mandated for a full deployment within the organization, within the city of Quebec, and across all new projects. So this strategic support and BIM management mandate is currently being spread over the next 3 years, and the BIM One team is therefore have several roles and must deploy BIM throughout, and best practices of BIM throughout at least 6 projects ranging between $17 million and $370 million. So essentially, City of Quebec had this project, the Videotron, saw the success of utilizing BIM on this project and wanted to replicate that success on all of their projects across the city. So what were they looking for? Ideally, they're looking for a uniform process, building management services. So they wanted to streamline the process of BIM across all of their platforms, all of their projects, looking at building management services, so how they can utilize BIM in supporting their buildings, operations and maintenance, capture existing building data, so any of the large capital infrastructure that they have, wanting to be able to capture that data, and if they're doing any renovations or modifications, utilizing BIM for that. Look at their asset portfolio management, right? As an asset manager, they really need to understand what assets they have across the city, link to other city services, so consolidating the data, sharing that data with the other city services, and being able to then connect the dots, and then systems interoperability, looking at ways to create efficiencies in operating and running those buildings. So BIM One, after having supported the city in its BIM planning on a project basis, really did a successful job in implementing that across all of their projects that they were delivering at the time, and still delivering. Another project that we're involved with is the City of Quebec, the International Airport. Our role on this project was principal BIM manager. So once again, not your traditional BIM manager that's led by the architect, but an independent sourced consultant that does an overview and manages the models of all disciplines. So we supported the remodeling and the extension of the Quebec City Airport. This project, interestingly enough, was nominated for the 2016 Best in BIM Owners Award by CanBIM, and the project BIM was used throughout the project extensively. It's one of the first projects in Quebec for horizontal, so GIS, and vertical, so buildings, applications with a BIM approach. So combining platforms and disciplines together to deliver one BIM deliverable. It's interesting they integrated GIS with BIM. The expansion and redevelopment of the terminal had 3 phases. It was a complex project. The first was the construction of the extension, which had an area of over 25,000 square meters. And the second phase was the redevelopment of the international section. So as you can imagine, with an airport, new construction can be very disruptive. So being able to manage the model, create the deliverables, and manage construction efficiently and effectively was certainly a priority for the airport authority. The third phase was the partial redevelopment of different sectors of the existing terminal. So updating and renovating parts of the existing terminal. So this project was carried out in a construction management with the fast track insurances of several building work packages. So it was split up between multiple packages so we could expedite the delivery and the completion of the project. So as the BIM manager, principal BIM managers for the role, many stakeholders were consulted to meet their needs, because we had to look at exactly the needs of each of the consultants. We had to meet with the airport sector, as regulation was certainly very crucial, security obviously, and the technical needs of the airport were very stringent, the BIM requirements and the project requirements. So it was a very interesting project, a very complex project. In order to reduce operating costs, the managers of the building really made every effort to ensure that the overall project met the highest standards of energy efficiency. So that was one of the priorities of this project as well. And that was one of the mandates of the project. So as a principal BIM manager role on this project, some of our key objectives and our mandates for the project was quality control. So making sure that the BIM deliverables were in line with the projects and the client's demands. Defining what the client's demands were, what the client's standards were that the client needed to achieve their objectives. So outlining exactly how the BIM was going to be developed and what data and information was going to be achieved in the models. Ensuring interoperability within the BIM models, so making sure that each platform could speak effectively to one another. BIM management planning, so obviously creating a BIM execution plan, making sure that everybody followed the plan and fell in line with the needs of the project. Clash detection and virtual coordination, so making sure that obviously clash detection, so we could have an accurate deliverable at the end of the day. And through that, creating model audits, so verifying that the model was built in accordance with the BIM management plan and met the high stringent quality aspects that the project needed. And then through that, there was a requirement to develop content and equipment libraries that were specific to the airport's needs. So we could associate data and they can use that as part of their FMI, or facilities management and information platform. Training as part of this was directed to technical support for the stakeholders, so giving them the capabilities and the abilities to achieve and meet the needs of the BIM. And then integration of point cloud, so obviously dealing with an existing building, integrating of the point clouds so we can capture the existing conditions. Lafar Group, Delaire, Lafar, this was a multiple project scope of over $650 million. The implementation of BIM process for the design of the Lafar skyscrapers. Our role in this project was as BIM consultant, so we looked at what the strategic plan was for the project, implementation, and BIM management, so managing the expectations around the BIM manager. So the group Delaire, recognized, where did it go? There it is. Recognized that BIM was a significant player in the industry, and they wanted to really capture that and utilize BIM. They recognized the need to utilize BIM within this project. And they recognized the great opportunities for collaboration and information sharing, all of which were important criteria for the success of this project. And in return, this meant big savings for the client, so big financial savings for the company as a whole, because they could utilize BIM. So in the context of the implementation, which actually will be one of the tallest Canadian towers east of Toronto, the client, Groupe de l'Air, decided to deploy BIM through its architectural construction and engineering subsidiaries. So within their own organization, they had the tools and capabilities to achieve this project, and they mandated BIM and asked Bim One to manage that mandate to implement a coherent BIM strategy within the project design group. So our involvement was really to ensure the compliance with the BIM requirements, so that the teams work cohesively and collaboratively together and not in silos. We supported the various teams in their needs in using various tools. So we provided training and support on the applications. And then we communicated with the project management team, so they are aware of the progress of BIM activities throughout the whole project as well. So the interesting aspect here is that the client demanded BIM as part of their deliverable. They recognized with such an investment on project that the BIM played a crucial role to enable them to do some cost savings on this project and deliver a quality product. So these were some of our objectives for the project. And once again, it's interesting that a client outsourced a separate BIM consultant, an independent consultant for the project. So defining the BIM objectives, identifying the scope, defining KPIs, key performance indicators. So something to measurable so they can prove and verify that BIM is being successful on a project. Integrating BIM principles, defining the document structure, and through all of that, really establishing a QA/QC model that will ensure that that the model will stay on track, won't go off the rails, and that it'll be a successful project. So Montreal University campus, this is a $350 million project. The role that we played on this project was once again BIM manager. The university was looking for a senior BIM manager to assist the project team in the implementation of the BIM requirements for the project. So they outsourced that. They were looking for the right people to do that. There we go. So this project included the construction of a new science complex, the education pavilion, and a library on the site of a former industrial neighborhood, a former industrial site. So due to that, the site was heavily contaminated, and the project had to deal with that level of contamination. The project team was in charge of the project management and therefore oversees the main BIM management mandate for the client. The first BIM management mandate was completed for the planning and design phase. So we had a separate mandate specifically around planning and designing. Then the client asked us to maintain our services and extend the mandate throughout the construction phase. So being able to continue the BIM work that we did during design through to construction, because they saw the benefits then in utilizing the BIM for operations and maintenance. And that's what we did with this project. yeah, very interesting project. If anybody has the opportunity to go to Montreal University, it's quite an innovative campus. So through that, as some of our roles, once again, was as BIM manager, creating an implementation plan, making sure that compliance through the participants was met with the standards that was outlined and demanded through the project, and the procedures were followed. Providing technical support for all the stakeholders, so providing guidance on the tools, but also training and enabling the team to use the tools. Coordinating with the project team, so the whole project team from construction, design, through to trades, and then developing the data exchange for the facilities management for the operations team. So understanding what the operations teams require, and then defining what the data requirements are, and then how we manage the use of that data. And QA/QC, again, monitoring the exchange and the progress of the models, how those models were being exchanged and worked with between the consultants, and making sure that the quality level was met with the project needs. Yeah, so what we've seen so far out of all these projects is, and I think we're starting to see this as more of a trend within the industry, is that cloners and owners and clients of capital projects, but also major investment projects, are looking at an independent source to help manage BIM and utilize BIM for cost effectiveness, for quality control, to ensure that their deliverables, to explore deliverables. Quite often they're unsure about how they can fully utilize BIM on projects for utilization of management of the building. And they're seeing an opportunity, or they're seeing the benefits around hiring external BIM managers who are independent from the design team. And that independence really gives us then the authority to ensure that quality control is met through all participants. We can speak independently with the client and explore opportunities of how they can utilize BIM and the benefit of BIM for their utilization and their benefit, whilst really ensuring quality of the deliverables from the design team. Not only the design team, but ensuring that the whole project, that everybody involved with the whole project can work cohesively and collaboratively together, all the way through from concept design and the design team, through to construction, procurement of materials, working with the trades, and then ultimately the operations team, working with the operations team on what they need to effectively manage the project, which, you know, like the city of Quebec, they have multiple assets they need to be able to manage and keep track of those assets all together, all at once. So I think we're ready for questions. Thank you, everyone. And, you know, just by participating in these types of webinars and CanBIM, thank you for being part of this transformation of the industry, right? We're in that major shift in the industry. We have been for a while with the adoption of BIM. Now we're at another point where we're looking at, it's no longer focused around BIM, but digital project delivery. And what is part of that digital project delivery is the asset management, and the data and the information is really becoming more critical and more important. So collaboration, communication, and asset management. So I will stop sharing my screen and come back to you, Helen.
Hi, Scott. Hopefully you can hear me.
I can. Can't see you, though.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened to my camera. Hang on. I don't know if that works. I don't think that works. Off and on a few times. Yeah, so thank you very much, Scott. There are a bunch of questions that are popping up. And I guess the first one, I mean, first of all, those projects are super impressive, and they're enormous.
Yeah.
So, I think what I'm really interested in, and in fact, there was a question from Vaughan also, was about, like how do you sort of facilitate the sort of the benefits of lean on the ground, and particularly in the context of lean thinking and trying to embed some of those efficiencies that you talked about in the design process. Like, how do you proliferate that through the construction sequence? And specifically, if you could focus on sort of the lean aspects of what you're talking about.
Right. Wow, that's a big question. Yes, and actually, before I get to his question, I did invite Vincent to join to help answer some of these questions, because Vincent was certainly deeply embedded in a lot of these projects. Do we have access to Vincent? Is he able to join? If not, I'll try and answer Vaughan's question as best as I can, and I am struggling to really understand the full depth of his question. I know talking about lean and then integrating the BIM practices and the efficiencies that we see in BIM, pushing that down to the trades level and on the field. I think one of the biggest ways that we can do that is sharing the model, right? Having the trades and the site access, giving them access to the model. And not only giving them access to it, but educating them in ways to utilize it. So one way that we do that is just doing a quick what is BIM session, how does BIM work for you, the trades on the site, and then just enabling them to easily view the model, assess their scope more efficiently, more effectively, and providing them with access to the tools to be able to do that. And really, that can be as simple as if they have a smartphone or a tablet, providing them with a free link to access the model. So whether that's through the cloud, through design review, through 3D PDFs, so they can really assess and scope the scope of their work, their projects. Vincent, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, specifically for BIM, hi Al, I'm Vincent, Major Account Manager for BIM One, and specifically maybe for the BIM integration part, I would say the main goal we try to pursue with every mandate is to really focus on the end goal, really like to try to cut through the buzzword and the stuff that may gravitate around BIM, but are not like essential to the final client's objectives, right? So really to focus on understanding what's needed from the client, what's needed for him or her to go really to achieve his or her goals, and then from there trying to focus on those objectives. So really like this is what I can see from really a BIM integration or BIM implementation perspective.
Good.
That's really great. There's certainly quite a lot of popularity or emerging popularity, certainly in certain parts of the country, for these, sort of multi-party contractual arrangements that really try to embed and almost force the team into, using collaborative solutions. And really, the only way, it seems to me, that you can do that successfully is by deploying a collaborative digital platform that sort of embeds all of those relationships. One of the things, Scott, that I wanted to talk about was, recognizing that a number of those projects that you showed were really, colossal, hundreds of millions of dollars. The applicability of what you've learned through this process to more modest projects. I mean, I would say, certainly the vast majority of the projects that are starting to look at BIM for the first time are the more commodity projects, multifamily housing, those types of things. Maybe can you guys talk a little bit about what the applicability of what you've done to those types of projects might look like?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're absolutely right, Helen. The eye candy, the eye-catching stuff are the $350 million, the mega projects. And I've been involved with a number of those, but I've also been involved with townhomes, right? Residential construction, multi-res. And Helen and I are working on one project now with BC Housing on an innovative project utilizing BIM. And then the spin-off effects of utilizing BIM. So the other opportunities of using mass timber and wood and prefabrication and modularization. But even down to residential construction, I've never seen as many home designers using BIM that I have ever before. And they're using this in such ways that they're utilizing the BIM. So they're not just using it as a simple drafting tool like AutoCAD, or like we did when we first adopted BIM. We used it to create 2D drawings, but they're using it for quantification. They're using it for the solar studies, the solar analysis within the building, building performance analysis, seeing how well the building's going to perform, visualization for the clients, being able to provide them with a link so they can explore the model or go one step further and use virtual reality and walk through the building. These are value-added benefits that really is low-hanging fruit. It doesn't take much training or knowledge around the simple platform to be able to achieve these. So there's that broad spectrum all the way from the top, the multi-million-dollar mega hospital, which the trickle-down effect is incredible, right? What we've done on those hospitals years ago using VR, quantification, clash detection, coordination, now we're seeing done in every project. And with the recent explosion of cloud collaboration, really there's no reason why BIM and collaboration can't be done on every project. Vincent?
Yeah, just to add, like specifically in the context of the City of Quebec implementation, what we see is when there's leadership from owners and from big clients, like rolling out BIM in multiple projects, it can have a ripple effect that can touch afterwards every kind of every size of project. So the City of Quebec now did 3 projects under 5 million in BIM because because they work with the same market, they work with the same contractors, the architects, engineers. So if they work with an architectural firm for a 20-25 million project, the same architectural firm could bid on a smaller project, and the experience, the experience they acquire on other projects is then just shared through new projects. And maybe you will have like an architect in a smaller project that's used to that kind of or that's used to work in a BIM context, and then it will help like the engineers more neophyte in that sense, and really try to like upskill every partner around the table.
And that's a really good point. And Vincent's point around the City of Quebec and their workflow, you know, I've seen that in a number of implementations that I've done is they don't just implement BIM for key large projects because of the benefits. They implement BIM across the board. So whether they're doing a $350 million hospital or a $500,000 renovation, the workflow and the process is the same, and it's consistent. And when you lose that consistency, you lose efficiency. And the teams that I've found that typically work on these projects, so whether that's the design teams or the trades, once they get used to that workflow, they don't want to change. So they want to be able to follow that and have that consistency.
And there's really a competitiveness aspect to it too, right? If you only do like major BIM projects, only like for 300 millions and plus, you're going to you're going to scale down the number of contractors you're being able to work with. So if you deploy BIM at a larger scale with smaller projects, you can ensure competitiveness, and you can ensure that the whole market is going up, that all boats are lifting.
Yeah, they're pushing the industry forward.
Yeah. So I want to apologize again for the fact that this fancy new system has blown up my camera. It's on at my end, but I am here. And there's just been a ton of questions in the chat. And thank you also for those of you who've discovered the voting up button, so that there's some popular questions that are rising to the top, which makes my life so much easier. So I'm really pleased about that. But so Scott and Vincent, if you check out some of those questions as well, just to help me out if there's some down the list that you can maybe take a look at. But the one that sort of caught my eyes right at the top of the list, which is, was there any reality capture, laser scanning during construction and handover applications compared with the design models to perform QA/QC and as-built BIM model for handover? Is that something that you guys were involved with at all?
Yeah. For the specifically for the project of the Quebec airport, we did that for the slabs. So to ensure like that the slabs were correctly poured. But the interesting thing that we noticed is for more like less specific uses, we're able to do some QC and QA with like less advanced technology or less costly technology, like just with photos, like with applications like AutoBuilder and OpenSpace. Yeah, so you can compare like photos took on site during construction with models side by side and try to visually identify gaps. And it's really more cost effective than maybe the scan laser could be. But obviously there is downside to that too. So the precision is not as great as laser scanning. But there's really, like, again, with the lean thinking, there's really a need to reflect on what's the need here really. Is it to ensure that everything is placed a millimeter at the right place by the millimeter, or just generally there's no big change from the design?
Yeah. So sorry, Helen, for interrupting. I see a question there, and one of the questions that really stands out for me is around KPIs.
Yeah.
Because during implementations, they talk a lot about KPIs and measuring KPIs. And Vincent, I want you to talk specifically around KPIs on projects. But before you do, we struggle with KPIs because we're not comparing apples to apples, right? We're going from a 2D platform to a 3D platform, but we're also dealing with every project's a prototype. So how do you compare one project to the other? So really, the only KPIs that we can measure as part of an implementation is efficiency, obviously, right? Being able to use a smaller team on a project, but also the increase in the deliverables, the quality of the deliverables. So measuring the RFIs, if you share the model, but also what you deliver. So the value added aspects around delivering projects. So KPIs around implementation are tough, just because we have nothing to really compare about. But Vincent, I'd like you to talk a little bit around project KPIs.
Yeah, for the projects, we try to do two things, right? So first, we try to identify some really related to the BIM uses that we deploy on projects. We really try to identify cases that we really add a good return on investment. For example, if we work with a contractor and try to identify clashes in sub-trades models, so we try to, if we find one that's major and that we're absolutely sure that if we didn't saw that clash before, we would have overcost during construction. We try to price that overcost and really do some mini business case around those individual cases. And then you can also look at stuff like number of design changes during the construction or during during the construction. So it's really, those are more, it's easier to quantify those. So you really just look at a similar project with a same owner, same size, something like that, and see how the number of design changes varies between the projects. So it's another example that we use.
Yeah, well, this is a topic after my own heart as well. I mean, at SIAS, we are a market intelligence firm, and we spend a good deal of our time dealing with data and metrics. And I think what I go on about, if anybody gives me 2 minutes, is the woeful lack of data that the construction industry as a whole has, we are very poor at sort of, capturing ongoing industry health and well-being, how well we're doing, how happy our clients are about the work that we do, whether we are dealing with hospitals or a single family house. We're very bad at customer service and going back and making sure that, we have fulfilled the objectives and, the wishes of our clients. We're just always so relieved when we get to the end. And I think that this is a really powerful potential role for these digital tools to provide is, allowing us to both benchmark on an individual project basis, but also then, like in other countries, I mean, the UK has been doing it for 20 years, then anonymizing that data and aggregating it up to paint a picture of how well we're doing as an industry as well. So I think that there's a dimension to this that is completely untapped in Canada at this point. And I would really like to see this as a beginning of a better understanding of how we're doing as a whole. Anyway, there's more questions, and we are getting a bit, getting short on time. So could you very quickly, there's one here about subtrades, like one sentence from each of you before I wrap up about, because I'm sure there's more to say, but could you maybe just touch on kind of the involvement of subtrades and the folks on the outer orbit of the kind of design triumvirate that and how they work with the BIM process? Yeah.
Vincent, you go first.
Yeah, for the projects we're involved with, with the constructor, the contractors, we try to make the sub-trades participate directly in modeling. So they're the one installing the stuff. So we really, what we see is that they're the best person to really model as it should be. It should be built. So really, we involve them, and there's a beautiful pickup in the market in Quebec because there's a lot of sub-trades who are trading their draftsmen for BIM modelers actually.
That's great.
Yeah. Yep. And just building on what Vincent said, actually, I had an interesting conversation with a mass timber fabricating company here in the Okanagan yesterday, and one of the biggest challenges that they have is access to the model. Right, we're as a design industry, we're still very reluctant in sharing. We feel that there's a risk around sharing the model. So they're rebuilding the prototypes of their deliverable, so their CLTs or their glue lamps or whatever, based on 2D drawings. We've got this wealth of knowledge in this BIM that is not being utilized. So I think that there's some industry traditions that we need to get over with and start having confidence in our BIM. That was the biggest thing that I had in the firms that I've worked in, is encouraging the principals to have confidence in our deliverables and willing to share those models with everybody.
That is a fantastic place to end, you guys. Tremendous presentation. Thank you both so much. Just to wrap up for everybody, please now make your way over to the booths and you can chat with Vincent and Scott there and network with them. Again, quick thanks and heartfelt thanks to all our annual partners for allowing us to put this all together and for allowing us to advance our mission. A reminder to everyone on the session today, CanBIM's Innovation Spotlight publication is now available. The 2021 very glossy, gorgeous magazine. You can read all about some fancy projects in there and all sorts of happenings at the leading edge of innovation in construction. So you'll find that in the publication section of our website. You can get a hard copy delivered to your front door, or you can just check out the digital version there. Also, please visit our events page. There are a ton of new events coming up. The next Feature Friday is on May 28th about optimizing your workflow with Bluebeam. That's going to be presented by SolidCAD. July 14th, an industry summit exploring the value of ISO 19650 for the Canadian market. Sounds like a juicy one. The one that I am personally most looking forward to is the September 14th Executive Summit. So this is building on Scott's point, there's a mass timber technology in the digital environment, and that's going to be where Scott and I and some folks from the BC government will be unveiling a BIM guide for timber projects. So really hope you can join us for that. And then October the 14th is another industry summit on the innovation economy, the future of construction technology and improving productivity and safety. So stay tuned. Lots more Feature Fridays coming up and will be added shortly. Then one last thing, most important, before you go, please, please, please follow us on social media and tell a friend. We really want to grow our community, and that's what's going to make it so much easier for us to put on great events like this. Is the more folks we have on board, the more opportunity we have to do cool stuff. So please visit our YouTube. Please follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever you choose to inhabit social media, and then sign up for our mailing list. So with that, I will let you all go and enjoy the rest of your day. Please go connect with the BIM One team. And as I say, it's been just a great pleasure to have everybody on the call this morning. I'm so sorry you can't see me and I can't see you. I don't know what has happened there. But anyway, see you next time. And thank you and bye for now.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.